Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning, good morning. When you see this sweater, it's friggin' cold out. It's freezing out here, and I know a lot of you are in that freezing cold weather. And so maybe we'll get through this fairly quick. I was talking to New Zealand yesterday, and they're in their summer. And it's like, oh man, wait a minute. I need to find where the summer always is around. So I want to probably carry on this morning as fast as I can because really my time, I'm trying to get these every morning, but Friday. This is Thursday, so Friday's tomorrow. I'm going to try to slip in here and do a couple, 3 hours or so. Brandon, settle down, son. Frugivorous species and islanders. I mean, you can rationalize all you want, and I understand your position. And my position is not far from that, actually. I don't push frugivorous lifestyles, and you know that. But that is the lifestyle of the Homo sapien, whether you're living in northern climates or not. The idea of eating meat is not healthy, period. Grass-fed, newspaper with urine fed, seen that. Downs cattle fed, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how you feed the animals. When you eat dead tissue, it's dead tissue. There's nothing healthy about it at all for any place you live. We're frugivores whether you're living in Alaska or whether you're living in California. You're still a frugivore. And how interesting is it, Brandon, that you can use the fruit level to cure everything on the planet, but you couldn't use the diet you're recommending to cure anything? You have to come off of that diet. I also understand that, and I've never pushed the fruitarian diet for those that want to try to achieve that. Yeah. Quality of fruit sucks. Yeah, we all know that, Brandon. We all know that, all of us. But you have to be careful with the intellect. What probably you don't understand, and a lot of people don't understand, when I'm a product of 40 years of investigating this. You're new. I've spent 40 years looking at this in every way you can imagine. I'm very familiar with all the concepts of anthropology and everything. I'm very familiar. That's why I'm where I'm at. Irregardless, and I don't care how a person eats, to be honest with you. I don't push 100% raw food diets on people nowadays. It's hard, very hard. But if you can maintain a high level of that, you need at least 70-80% raw food diet to maintain health in your body. And eating dead animals, there's nothing healthy about it whatsoever. I don't care if it's fish, chicken, beef, pork, ostrich, rattlesnake, kangaroo, it doesn't matter. Still dead tissue, still acidic. And when you made a comment that some people can handle protein and starch combinations, not on your life. Chemistry's chemistry, Brandon. I don't care if you're an Eskimo or you're an islander. Chemistry's chemistry in your body, and you can see in the Eskimos genetically how their bowels are shrinking because of the high protein diets, the short lifespans. You know, it's all there. So I understand that. There's not a war here against you and me, but it's enough to say that I understand what you're saying. I don't totally go with everything you're saying here. However, I understand. If a person wants a piece of meat once in a while, do I care? No. I'm about the God part of life as opposed to the health. But I am a healer and a naturopath, and realistically, animal protein is not healthy for anyone, period. You can claim you need it, but that's just going to your own personal issues. You might claim that some people need it because of their consciousness, and I probably wouldn't argue with that. Some people feel they need meat, they have to have meat because they feel they have to have meat, not because they have to have it for any health reason. There's nothing healthy about dead tissue and stagnant blood. Nothing whatsoever. Magnetically, chemically, nothing like that. It leaches calcium out of your body. There's no way you can convince anybody that eating meat is healthy. I don't care who says what about it. Let them go and do whatever they want. We're all healers on this channel. And if you want to heal people, I suggest that you don't get too carried away with this because you're not going to heal people putting them on this diet. They'll feel better, no question. They'll feel better. And I understand that this is Brandon X. I understand this whole thing, where you're going. I really do. But if I allowed my clients to get that attitude, I wouldn't have the success that we're having in healing. It's your job as a healer. If you want to be a healer, your job is to get your client through the detoxification process and on the other side of that, so they're out of pain, they have no tumors, and they have no cancer. And you just have to do that. Whether you say there's lousy fruit or not, I don't care. I mean, look at the vegetarian. A good example is the cure rate, and I use that not as a disease type of focus, but look at the difference between the success that I have in my clinic and the Hippocrates has. My success rate is at the top of the mountain compared to most people on the planet. I've never seen them regenerate quadriplegics, paraplegics, MS. I've never seen that. I have. I've regenerated some of the most twisted, curved bodies that you've ever seen. But I didn't do it on vegetables. Tried it on vegetables. Definitely been there. So you have to understand, I've got 40 years behind me in this level of work. So, okay, I have no judgment in people's diets. You all know that. I've said that. Some of you have been down on me for having that kind of attitude. Because they're the raw fooders that are just raw, pounding raw. Now, I had that attitude at one time, pound the raw. And that's what it takes to get well, though, guys. Don't make no mistake. This is the kind of lifestyle you have to lead to get well. If you want to cure yourself, you got to move your lymph. And you're not going to move lymph on seeds and grasses and animal meat and stuff like that. You might maintain a fairly good lifestyle after you get through the detox, and I know that's what you're saying. But I suggest if you can get away from meat, stay away from meat. Stay away from the dairy. Stay away from a lot of this stuff. And if you have something once in a while, who cares? Developing one's own personal dietary habits after they get well, who cares? But I'm only in the process of getting well. I understand the process of what you living life outside of that realm. But I have to keep myself focused on this realm, because if I don't, I'll get too slack on my clients. And if I get too slack on my clients, they don't get the success. Because when my clients come in, let's say a month or two after I have them on I start them off with the detox kit and I really start moving them through this, then they come in, especially the men, and say, well, now what can I add to my regimen? Can I have nuts? Can I have a little piece of fish? You know what I do? No, I'm going to get more strict. I'm going to say, listen, let's do a fast. So you've got to, your job as a healer is to educate and walk with your client and love your client and walk with them and get them through this process of being well, because that's where we're at here on this channel. If you want to find any lifestyle after that, I don't care. But you have to understand, when you're eating a certain lifestyle, and then you have to get away from that and go up into a fruitarian lifestyle to be well, what is that telling you? Okay. But I love you, Brandon. Let's see here. Oh, Danielle, yeah, you said a comment here. I'm getting sucked in by the cares of the world. I know. I am too in a little bit, and I try not to, because, but it's compassion for all the living creatures that have to deal with it, because we know each one is God in a form. Each individual thing you see is God in a form. It can't be anything other than that, because God is omnipresent. And when God is omnipresent and omnipotent and omniscient, there's nothing outside of that. You can't create outside of yourself if you're the all of the all. You can't have hell over there and heaven over here. Because in something that is infinite, there's no duality. There's no separation. There's only one God. For those, there are some Hindus, some people believe in several gods. And there are a lot of different overlords they claim on each one of these levels. I've talked to a couple myself. Paul Twitchell wrote a lot about it in The Tiger's Fang. And the Tiger's Fang is a journey to all the levels of heaven. Most of them you can study in all the religions up to the soul, what we call the soul plane, or Satnam region. And only the Radhaswami and Ekankar masters have gotten into those levels. I've never seen anyone talk about God at those much, much higher levels. Most of the conversation about God is still wrapped up in the different levels of heaven and creation. So once you get used to these different levels and what they are, and problem is, unless someone really comes and explains them to you, it's hard, because religions are really kind of capping your ability to journey into the God worlds. Some have fear built around it. There's all kinds of problems with that. And really, one should never fear anything, because they are a representative of God. That's how God expresses itself. You can't take an infinite being and make it finite. So the only way you can make it finite is to create something it can work through that is finite, and of course, bodies. As much as we like them or dislike them, they are our instrument to be able to express at these mundane, very elemental levels. Soul can't be in creation. It can only use bodies to be in creation. You can't take something infinite and make it finite. You can make it appear finite. All right, stress and lump in throat. Ooh, is this let me see here. It appears that there is something else. One of your other viewers who is experiencing a lump in the throat. Absolutely, I am learning a lot from your message. Yeah, I had the same thing, and I tell you, I know where Brandon is. I know all these. I mean, I was a fruitarian going down the other way at times. Absolutely, and it wasn't because of the lack of food for me. It was just the high magnetic energy, and just when you're working with out-of-body travels, and you're working with the God force, and allowing spirit to flow through you at more and more increased levels, and then you're eating fruit, you really powering yourself on the positive side. Well, in creation, you can't just be positive. You've seen that in your lives, where you have the shifting between the two sides of negative and positive. If you can get yourself situated into the middle, which is the now, and in the now, that's the only place you'll find the infinite. Because if you get out of that infinite now, where there's no time, then you're in the worlds of time, and then you're in the past, and then you're in the future. So you're in time. So that middle path brings you to the now. So you can't live too far on the negative or too far on the positive. So those of you that have some negative experiences, don't beat yourself up. That's just the nature of the beast here. There's a lot of people that don't like themselves, that beat themselves up so much. And don't do that, lovely ones. You don't need to beat yourself up. You're the center core of everything you experience. No one experiences your world but you. If I've had similar experiences, I could sit down with you and communicate and talk with you and say, yeah, I've had similar experiences. What did you experience? But unless I walk in your shoes, I don't know. I can only see and understand what I've experienced. And if it looks similar, or you have similar experiences, because most experiences in creation are already created. Have you ever had a deja vu experience? You'll find that as before you came in here, you already knew what you were going to experience. You already knew all these things. That's why you have intuition and inner guidance. Because there's nothing past soul or God or consciousness. There's nothing on the other side of that. It is total. It is inclusive. It's everything. And once one looks at that and understands that, then he begins to realize just who everything is on this planet. Who is all this stuff, and what are atoms and cells and all this stuff like that. But I got way off too myself. And someone offered me a Mountain Dew or something, and I got a major lump. It's so mucus forming, so much sugar. I just got an immediate big lump in my throat. And I used carrot juice to try to pull it out. And I did this over about 6 months with no success. And I did this over about 6 months with no success, because I didn't understand at the time that vegetables and carrot juice wasn't the most powerful tool I could use to expectorate or pull mucus or lymph. I didn't understand that. I understood the fruitarian, but I was moving away from that, and I love my fruits. But everybody at the time, remember, there's a lot of influences in your consciousness. I can see it in Brandon's. And so you in anthropology, you study this, you study that, and pretty soon, when someone has a strong understanding of something in their world, then pretty soon they pull you into their world and you're believing what they say, because it sounds pretty good. But when you separate it all down and you bring it all down to truth, you're sitting on it right now. Whether you can adapt to it, whether you can get it, whether whatever. But you just can't ignore the fact that we're frugivorish species, whether you live, no matter where you live. And you have to adapt to some of that, or you're not going to be well. That's all there is to it. And those that get off of the raw foods get sick again. I tell you, if you get yourself really healthy, it'll take you years and years and years and years to get sick again. Years. But you have to be careful, because if you don't go that way, and you go halfway, you go a fourth of the way, and you start eating your eating habits, it's just a matter of time, and your symptoms will come roaring back. Some of you experience it already with just one meal away from your fruitarian or your raw foods. It's not just fruitarian. I'm under raw. I'm into salads, but not in detoxification. I'm not, but in a daily lifestyle, absolutely. But realize the healthier you get, the less you need to eat. You don't need to eat all these things. And food combinations is important. And protein and starch combinations is the worst for anyone, whether you live on the top of the Himalayas or you have a little deep sea diving equipment and you're down under the water. What I am confused about is, why is my lump in throat so much more when I am tense or under stress? Well, everything is much more when you're tense and under stress. When you're tense and under stress, the kidneys are not going, they're not filtering. Your adrenals, the epinephrine and the norepinephrine is the focus, and the dopamines and the acetylcholines are the non-focus. So you have less elimination and therefore more lymph expression, especially if your lymph is really backed up. Your lymph nodes will grow. You'll find, if you check your lymph nodes every once in a while, you'll feel them going up and down, up and down. And that's related to environment, it's related to foods, it's related to stress, it's related to all these things. This is why I said relaxation is really the key to being well. And this is why in fasting, animals just sit back and say, hey man, I need a break, I'm going to take a rest for a while. We need to do that. And so that's why you feel that way. But it's still showing you that if you're under stress and you see things like a lump more, you just in your face to get rid of it. Get this out of you. But it's going back to your kidneys and adrenals. And that's just kind of a little showing you that story there about that. Doctors over the years were telling me that is all in my head. No, that's not in your head, my friend. And this is a common issue. So, yeah, that's a problem. Everything's in your head when you go to the medical doctors. Because the lump gets, because the lump is always there 24/7. Of course, it might appear like it's not there sometimes. I know, but you know what? Really, my friend, pick yourself up. This is a teddy bear. See that pretty teddy bear? Kick yourself up. If you have to, get yourself up on a grape fast, lemon fast, whatever you have to do. But you're going to get maybe a sore throat, but you're going to, and it's going to come up. Most likely, but I've seen these swellings. You're going to bring that right up. It could go down and be carried to the lymph nodes and out. It could. That's the goal, is to get the body to move that lymph. But generally when they're up here and bronchioles and stuff, that's generally how that goes. A lot of lung cancer comes right up and out. So it's something that you see there. But keep working till that lump is totally gone, because that's an acid mucus lump. Coco Bev. Man, what a name, sweetheart. Coco Loco Bev. Hi, honey. I haven't seen your name here. Bananas. Is bananas on the list as well? Bananas, I told you, I think this before, that I had a 3-doctorate professor in Canada who studied, some big wig at a big university up there had studied the potato, the blueberry, and the banana all his life. Sounded like a smart cookie to me. So I figured his knowledge around these foods were probably going to be the best I could find, but he claimed the banana was nature's perfect food. And if you look at it, it is the only fruit that really ripens nutritively after you pick it green. Everything else ferments to ripen. It doesn't really ripen, it just ferments to die. But the banana will continue to ripen nutritively. That's pretty cool. And so it is a good food. Not too unripe, no. Too ripe, no. So that magic, I'm all yellow, maybe a couple spots of brown. Look, we are having a beautiful winter, 15% Celsius. No snow. Usually it is minus 30. Oh my God, Bev, where you at? You didn't say where you from, sweetheart. Oranges down here don't taste very. I know it. It is, and I agree with Brandon, it's a universal problem, but we can't change our who we are and what we need by the fact that we have bad food. We got to educate people and get our food sources up. You know, we've got to get active and go after these farmers and say, man, get your quality up. Your quality sucks. Shame on you. Get proud of what you make. Not egotistical proud, but loving proud. Look at this I made for all of you guys. I grew these beautiful oranges for you guys. And me too. Absolutely. Thank you, sweetheart, for the... hey, Daniel. An important message. Oh, it really is that simple. Fruit and leafy greens seem to agree with me the most. What's interesting is this type of eating simplifies other areas of my life. And it does, Daniel. I'm telling you, I've got myself used... I never have cooked in my life. How about that one? I've never cooked. I've been raw since I was 20. So I really don't know what cooking is. I don't, if I live alone, I won't even have something to cook in. I just, it's a waste of time to sit there and cook when you can just chop and eat. I need less and feel more content with simple things. Good, man, you're getting there, Dano. You're getting there because you're going to find that when the obstructions and the resistance in the body is out and the fluids are moving well, then everybody's moving well. It's kind of like having constipation and moving your bowel. Oh, that felt good. That's what moving lymph is. Oh, that feels so good because you're starting to feel good. Energy's going up. Obstructions, restrictions, and energy loss and all that to cells are back, and it's just a good thing. And you don't need to eat so much. You forget about counting calories. Who cares about calories? You need less energy because you are energy, and you're getting your body. Really, if you look at this, it's the obstructions that you're eating energy for. Believe it or not, people get all dammed up in their energies, and they keep trying to get it through their food. Once they open up that flow, you need very little substance physically to maintain your level of health of the human body. Because remember, you as soul are the main energy of the human body, period. Without you, your human body doesn't have a way to go. Also, like you said, the less I eat, the better I feel, depending on how... Exactly. Dano, my man, you got it. Good job. Proud of you. Love you, bro. The more I get away from the now, the more food I seem to crave. Amazing, isn't it? How interesting. Everything is all tied together like that, guys. I love you guys. You guys are like they're kind of like the warriors that are sifting through and finding truth from all this crowded and constipated and obstructive states of consciousness down here. You guys are kick butt. I think you must be Florida. Oh, best kept secret. I've been watching you since you started making vids, but haven't been able to keep up. Sorry about that. I'm probably going to be shooting videos for a while. Chris and I were talking. We're up to 500 and some vids, and that's going to be the tip of the iceberg, really, because I've got a lot of single ones to yet make, and then I've just got. I'm going to keep answering your questions. I'm going to keep doing it. Maybe not in the most timeliest manner as I would prefer, because I would love to be able to answer your question just as soon as you need that answered. But I got to have a life too, and I just can't. I'm already, most of my time is involved in this, but I have to have a little R&R in my gardens or I just freaking go nuts. Is there where I might post medical problem questions? Love, 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 love you too. Oh, Diane. You can post medical questions on here. I just don't, I'm not a medical person. I will say this though, even though I'm pretty forceful and pretty hard on the medical community, it's just that that community needs revamping. And that means that surgery is really their expertise. You take a good surgeon, there's some friggin' lousy surgeons out there that need to have their license yanked, and I think I've given you some cases to show that. These guys are just out there. But surgery is really key to the humans because there's so many of us, so much trauma now. So surgeons are vital to life, I think. Emergency medicine needs to be strapped between naturopathic, homeopathic, and allopathic. Those three need to come together in emergency medicine, and let me tell you, that would be the cat's meow. I'm telling you, you have a problem, you go in a healing center, loosely called hospital, you've got gardens everywhere, your rooms are full of sunlight and light, everything is raw, you get colonics, chiropractic adjustments, qigong, you get your body care. That's a lot of money though. I started to create a center like that. But when you take the best around the world and put them together, you're talking a high dollar problem. And so it's really problematic when you're in a hospital or in a healing center setting and you're doing it that level. That's problematic in costs and things. So you have to look at that side of it too. Some of your best healers are not cheap to get. Oh, thanks for the comment there, Soul Bass Kenny. Woo-hoo, I like that, Soul Bass Kenny. Thanks, man. Appreciate it, bro. Thank you all in every way from the bottom of my heart. I'm gonna, I'm gonna address everything that comes this way. Still love you, Brandon. I want to understand why, but don't get too far down that road. But if you do, you'll see what I'm talking about too. But I understand where you're coming from. My gig is, and that's why on this, my gig is detoxification and healing. I have to say that each will find their own way outside of that, what their body will tolerate, where their consciousness is, absolutely. I can't judge that. But knowing where the core is, and where the healing is, and where the power is, and where the health is, then you can augment from that. But I wouldn't augment too far. If you augment too far away from the raw and away from the fruitarian lifestyle, eventually you're going to feel it again. Because that's where you get here in the first place. Why are you where you're at in the first place? I want to understand why doctors recommend chemo besides a financial reason. What is the benefit? I understand now that it is wrong, but there must be. You know what was interesting on CBS last night? They did a thing on chemo and cancer and stuff. And they kind of did it in an interesting light. But the lady that was was being interviewed, you could tell she had a disdain for chemo because she had been through it and it ravished her so bad. And the comment she was making, if you were listening to her, it's like, ooh. And they were trying to show it in a positive vein and like it was chemo on the younger people. And it ravished her so bad. And the comment she was making, if you were listening to her, it's like, ooh. And they were trying to show it in a positive vein and like it was chemo on the younger people. Is not helping. There is a percentage of extended life, and this was on CBS last night, of 2% in the elderly, but in the young people, there was no extension of life from the use of chemo. And this one lady that had been through it, she was like basically gritting her teeth and didn't want to really come out, but the way she was saying it was like this, and she used the word poison. She said, after they poisoned me so much with this chemo, she said, you can't even describe where I was at. And I mean, just to hear that, and I guess the news anchor person that was featuring this story was trying to show that we need more research and more involvement because the chemo isn't helping the younger people. They're dying like flies, basically, and this isn't helping them. But we need more research. And the lady they were interviewing is pretty much saying, the chemo is killing us. Hello! And she should have said that. Of course, they would have never aired that. But that's what she was trying to say, that gritting her teeth. And the comments, if you were listening to her, it's like, uh-oh, that's truth. Come on, come out with it. And it was a pretty good thing. But what they were saying was that you young people are in trouble. Their chemo isn't helping you. It's making matters worse. Well, no kidding. Oh, man. Amazing stuff there, sweetheart. 91, Gamilex, I don't know, sweetheart. It's either unconsciousness, insanity, willfulness, who knows? But you would think that somebody, and of course we don't allow higher consciousness in governments generally as a rule. You're generally either assassinated, terminated, or put in a fusion center or something. No higher consciousness in governments now. Stuck on this part. That's interesting. Stuck on this part. I like your name there. I used to get eczema on my elbow area. Once I cut out dairy, mainly eggs, it helped a lot. Yeah, Brandon, you even mentioned eggs, raw though. And I'll tell you, I have recommended raw eggs. Raw, organic, non-fertile eggs I've recommended for extreme emaciation. I would. I'm known to put a raw egg in with a almond milk, fresh made, to build muscle and to build strength ASAP. And I pump the greens and everything else, but we get people down in the 60s and 70 pounders that come in here ravished with chemo. I have to get them all fruit. At the same time, I've got to do this as I walk them down the road. So it's a trip sometimes, definitely. If you really want, you might start a lymphatic tincture and a kidney tincture as well. Yeah, not sure what one. Oh yeah, you're talking to. Good job. You guys are doing. I can't even tell you how proud I am of every one of you guys. All you YouTubers that have made it in here from Switzerland, from New Zealand, all around the world. You all are shining lights and stars. The advice you gave is right on. You always recommend kidney and lymphatic no matter what. And then you can go into the bowels. If you get that Fab 4, the kidneys, the GI tract, the lymphatics, and the endocrine glands, you're right on top of everything that's problematic in people. So good advice. You guys I'm proud of you. Don't be afraid. Keep going. You guys are very, very good. Step in that raw. Step in that fruitarian. Step in those fastings. Sometimes you got to take it up to another level. I mean, there's a difference between someone that reads and books. Okay. There's a difference between that and someone that has set 40 years. Jensen, 75 years. Dr. Jensen, 75 years in clinical practice. That's amazing. I mean, 40 years is a burnout, but 75 years. Wasn't a vitalist, wasn't a raw foodist, but still a healer and a really great spiritual being. This Dr. Jensen was incredible in that way. So I've had multiple surgeries, gallbladder removed, C-sections, 3 tumor removal surgeries, one of which through my stomach and came the scars. Yep. And adhesions probably. With the babies came the stretch marks. I have no idea how to get rid of them. I have tried vitamin E, bio oil creams, and so many more creams. It's insane and nothing seems to work. I am now on a raw diet for my second time around, wondering if I am eating, Blue Mama of 3. I love your name, honey. Well, do you see why the scars, though, honey? I mean, look at what you've had done here. You've had multiple surgeries. You had the gallbladder. You've had the C-section. I understand that. 3 tumor removals. So automatically you know your lymph system's backed up bad. And so you know you're very acidic. So in an acid medium, tissue doesn't heal well, so you're going to see scarring. You're going to see more tissue build up, like a fractured bone. You're going to see more tissue building up around that injury, that surgery, whatever. And that's the problem. We have to do surgeries in highly acidic environments. Well, these environments don't heal well. because they're highly acidic environments, so you wouldn't need a surgery in the first place, except for trauma. So this is the problem. The only true way that you have that I've seen where scar tissue and adhesions are dissolved is when you're way up there on the raw. How interesting. But way up there on the raw and way up there in detoxification. Get your kidneys filtering, get those adrenals up, get your colon cleaned out, really go after it. Because you can't put creams and make tissue repair. That's a problem. I mean, we use some creams in healing and stuff like that. Yeah. And it does work well. But truly systemic healing is really a fruit experience. Some vegetables, maybe in greens, but you're going to have to get to that level and stay at that level probably for well over a year or more. This is a no joke thing. When you realize what it takes to regenerate and get well, you're on raw for at least a year or two. I mean, it takes that in some cases. Some of you guys can take a year or so to get well. Well, I don't know what to say about it. Some of your cases are chronic, real weak in the genetic side, very backed up lymphatically, very chronic. You're not going to fix that in 2 or 3 months. I mean, that's what I think is important for each of you healers to learn, is it's going to take people a while. I used to have an arrogant, cocky attitude like, all right, we'll take care of you right like that. We'll have that gone in 2 or 3 months. If it took 4 or 5 months, the patient would, or the client would get real mad. Oh, you said I'd be gone in 3 months. Most people do. So anymore, I've changed a lot through the years, because I realize the depth now of so much of this, the chronicness and the depth of the toxicity is just unreal. So yeah, we have serious problems here, and you're going to be working on these things for a while. So you just hang in there and enjoy the ride. Look at Dano. I mean, look at how well he's doing. You'll see. Unless you get up there, you can't judge that level. You've got to get up there and ride that ride for a while to judge fruitarian, to judge raw foods. You've got to be up there for a while, and there's nothing like it. You will always regret not living totally raw. You will always regret that when you don't do it, and you will too, Brandon. You regret not living all raw. It's all I can tell you. And it's not necessary that you can do it either. I know a lot of people can't do it. I couldn't do it for so many reasons. But you know what? But you always regret it. I regret not being able to live in a fruitarian lifestyle. I regret we can't get all these good fruits. It's all sad, sad, sad. But you can't make it that way. You got to be happy and get the best you can. Give the love out. Push for change. Push for awareness. Okay.
Indiana Banana's on the phone.
Oh, Indiana Banana's on the phone. Well, okay. I'm going to have to go because Indiana Banana is waiting, and I need to see how his legs are. So I hope they're pretty much gone. He needs to get down here and do another video. Thank you guys very much, and you all have a beautiful day. And Brandon, I love you. Keep going, bro. Don't get too far out on that pasture out there, because we're going to keep doing the raw thing. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a fun day, and I love you all. Bye-bye now.